Let's go. See some stakes in the chat, boys. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, guys. Thank you for coming out today. It's a lovely day here in California, and I have another guest that also is home based in California. Speaks on stages all around the world, spoken at the largest conferences that I've been at Affiliate World, hosts his own events, made millions online through digital marketing, and he delved into the world of cannabis and of psychedelics and of CBD, and he has basically all the sauce for us, and he's going to walk through what that looks like with his brand that he co-founded. I believe it was last year, but I'll have him give a better introduction to that. But without further ado, we have my man Nick Shackelford coming on. How are you doing, my guy?
I'm good, brother. I appreciate you and your meaty, nice welcoming, brother. Um,
Absolutely, my guy. We're all about the
it,
steaks. Ribeye, it's ribeye life or nothing.
it's a lot of eggs, man. It's been nice. It's funny because when you get off that consumption path, and then you start, holiday season's difficult sometimes when you go into different houses and whatnot, and you just instantly feel like it just sucks. Like you just
Yeah,
feel
it's
slow. Your
fine.
your body sucks.
Yeah. Do you
So
do
I'm
do you
ready
do
for it.
raw stuff for like raw eggs, or you do everything cooked?
Look, the beard is thick, but I'm not that manly. No chance, dude. No, I and to be honest with you, I love eggs at all, like over easy, over medium, over poached. Like I'll sit there and cook 5 eggs all completely different at one time. So I'm not against any of this. I will say though, it's really difficult for me to consume fish right now for whatever reason. Like it fucks with
Oh,
me.
okay.
Like my stomach is really, whether it's tilapia, whether it's salmon, whether it's whitefish, anything really. It just I'm been pretty much all steak all day right now.
There you go. I like it, man. That's not a bad life to live anyways. If you guys are hearing
No,
us all right, if you guys are ready for this, I'm gonna have Nick do a little intro of himself just so you guys,
please.
if you haven't met him before, if you haven't heard of him, just so that he can introduce himself to you guys. But if you guys are ready for this, let's see some stakes. Let's see some ones in the chat. If you're not on your phone, you can't do an emoji. That's fine. We also accept people on desktops. But drop a stake, drop a one, just so that we know you guys are ready. But Shaq, introduce
Yeah.
yourself a little bit. Let the people know who you are.
Thanks, man. So my name is Nick Shackelford. Go by Shaq. That's what I wanted always in the locker room. And so all the way like before career number 3 started, I was playing professional soccer, and that was very eye opening. It was like an amazing time. It was an awesome opportunity, but then it was very sad. And all of it was like this peak of it. So it was all I did all my life. And I got there, and in America, like if you're stateside, bro, America cares about 3 sports. It's gonna be fucking baseball, it's gonna be basketball, it's gonna be football. Hockey, you can argue whatnot, but like soccer's really not in that space. And so um, when I achieved where I wanted, which was play for my local team, the LA Galaxy, and I realized like there's no money really here for me, I kind of jumped into the D2C space. And so I got very fortunate with the fidget spinner trend. That's where I made most of my reputation and my initial like, oh, we all have this weird relationship with money early on of like your parents are a certain type of way, you make a certain type of dollars, and you have like a career path that you'll think you'll kind of fit in similar to them. And that
Mhm.
was my first like aha moment. I can make a lot of money online. And so I'm pushing, this is year 11, no, year 10 of doing things online. And I've really just stayed in the agency and the paid media and the growth space from day one. So I hate to say it, but I'm agency through and through. I've been in this. It's kind of like a little Goldilocks. Like I was that big time where it was Resolution Media Omnicom. That porridge
Uh-huh.
was a little bit too hot, and then I went into like super small boutique with Tim Burton Agency Y, and it was really small. It was like a couple guys, and then I went in that medium space with Commentary Collective, and I was there until I started my own thing. And so, where we sit and live today is I sit across 3 core agencies. So we have Structured, which is a full service paid media, email, SMS content. We have Constant Creative, which was kind of like a COVID baby. Like we built that during a time
Mhm.
where people were going remote, and so we service a lot of agencies as a white label editing team. And then the most recent one, which is Lucid, which is a lot of what I'm going to talk about today. I kind of linked up with two really incredible people, which you guys will hear more about Aaron Nospish and Avin Klein. These two guys really, and really is a lot of it is Aaron's brain. He was a pioneer in the cannabis THC space, because as any of us know, if you're running any type of paid media, fuck, if you're running anything and you're dealing with CBD and fringe products, it's
Yeah.
not easy. And up until recently, there's some major changes that went on. I think a lot of people don't know the history, which I'm going to cover in a second. But you can do this. Like there's compliant ways of following it. There's businesses and brands being built, and there's a lot of money flowing into it. And so I think we kind of wrote it at the right time. Like right now, I'll pull up, you'll see an older screenshot from before we hit it. But right now, year to date, we launched on 420, appropriately speaking. And so we've been live since 420, and we crossed that 1 million mark in rev in November. And so right now,
Wow.
last month we did, and
Congrats,
it's
bro.
pretty. Man, I appreciate this because, and
You
I don't
guys
know.
had your biggest day like 2 days ago, right? Or something like that, where you guys did like 21 in a day.
It was our largest non-offer day. So we did it.
Okay.
We dropped a lines, man, because we were so late. And this is the part that people don't really talk about, especially if you're building a brand and having a paid media team. Like, we're so used to growth that, and you being in the SEO space, like you're so used to growth being as fast as you want to work, and you don't have to worry about inventory fulfillment, right? You kind of just, if you execute and you think it through, you can get it. But when we started, we've always been the paid side, and we were like, oh, inventory is not going to hit, or like we're delayed, or now we have customer support. And so we went in basically no stock until stock just this Q4, and so we couldn't even run a traditional offer. So it was like
Oh,
two
wow.
bucks or $5 or $10 off. So we did ended last month with 300 Gs. This month we should hit another 300 Gs, and let's just hope we have more products. So it is working, and it's all meta grown. We have a little bit of Google, but there's some nuances around it.
That's very cool. That's awesome. Guys, Shaq's going to have a little presentation for us today, just walking through some sauce, but
Please,
we're going to still keep it interactive. If you guys have questions and they're relevant to what we're talking about, I'll interrupt him. We'll pull those questions up and we'll get those answered. And at the end, maybe we'll have some time for a Q&A if we don't pass that hour mark. But stay attentive and take some notes. Put your phone in airplane mode and let's dive into this. We good to pull up the screenshot or the slideshow?
yes, please. I'm ready for you.
Alrighty.
All right, you got it. Cool. We are perfect. So I'm going to keep it at this view. You guys won't need to see anything too much closer than this, but what we'll go through is like the history of how this is legal to do, examples of what we're running and how we're running it, and some nuances around it. So then at the end, I know this is the agency crew. This is the agency group. I got a lot of deep knowledge in this stuff. A lot of wins and losses recently in this area. Um, Sidebar: our agency this year will do close to 14. If not, I'll be mad if we don't break that 14 mark this year. But it's been
Very
a
cool.
lot of growth, so we're in that shit. Title is Building Breeze has been anything but a breeze, mainly around the areas and topics that this is fully focused in. This is the guy that I'm sharing a lot of this sauce from. So a lot of this came out of what we're built. So this is Aaron Nosfish. This is me in the ice bath as well. This is actually him with Wim Hof. I think this was in Spain or Iceland. And so he is this type of guy. He's the right person to build this because of the product that we have is very future forward. We'll go laws. Everything that we're talking about, the changes of consumer trends, I think is going to be a big focus for you guys in developing offers, finding products, or thinking about trends that are coming where you can make a lot of cash, especially if we structure good rev share deals. And just validity, I want to make sure you guys see what we're doing. Real revenue, all paid media, and we're pushing heavy subscribers. So it's a lot more real than we are, and this is who we are. We're as aggressive and public as we possibly can on LinkedIn and Twitter. I fully believe in building this, and you can see some of the nuance. The cans changed slightly. Right now, I'm currently drinking it mixed with a Celsius, so the
Oh,
flavors of THC, and then I already took a little bit of my shroom. So I'm on a good one right now. I'm
you're
fully
ready for
locked
this.
in. um, there's three slides I'm going to show you that are our core purpose, and this is something that I think we all have to come to a point, especially if you're in the growth stage. I've made a lot of money on selling products that I'm really not proud of, and I think a lot of us come into this different, depending on the stages you are of growth and revenue. You have to come to a point where integrity and respect for who you are and what you're selling, what you're putting out in the world, especially if you're doing real numbers, Like you impact culture. Like you really do impact the decision behavior and buying behavior of this. And I'm kind of at this moment now, knowing what I sell and who I sell with. And I hate it because I want my agency to grow, and sometimes there's partners and projects that I don't want to be a part of. But now that I have my teeth sunk into product that I believe in and the history that I've gone to, it's big for me. So we live by this core mission. We want to reduce human suffering and maximize human potential through conscious compound. That's a fancy way of us saying nootropics. It's a fancy way of saying psilocybin, mushrooms, ketamine, like these things that could help alleviate alcoholism or dependency on prescription. Like just how much more natural can we get? It's a step towards it. So in conscious compounds, therapeutic compounds that lead to an overall net positive, no negativity here. And so we have to have these thought processes as we build in the mushroom and cannabis space, because we're getting tackled and really attacked from all angles. We're getting attacked from big cannabis, and we're getting attacked from federal and legal statutes on the state by state level. So there's a lot of stuff, and I envision as we continue to get bigger and bigger, that the cannabis and hemp market really competes against itself here. And so we live by this meme primarily is we don't know necessarily what we're doing because it's a very new space, but we're going to find out, and in doing so, we're fucking around with some really awkward and big people. In 2018, this is like the core reason why we can do what we do. In 2018, Mitch McConnell actually put in the Hemp Act into the Farm Bill, which happens on a periodic basis. So in 2018, this kind of went into effect. He pulled out some key things why we can do what we do, and it defines the difference between hemp. It defines hemp as cannabis, but with a slight difference. Anything that we're able to ship has to be within a 0.3% THC level by weight, or less by weight. So that means if I ship you a can, which my cans are back here, the concentration could be higher, but it by weight overall shipped to you has to be beneath this, which is,
Cool.
a very interesting positioning. And that's the change. So if you're trying to do this stuff in 2017, in 2018, and even in 2019, no platforms was able to have a conversation with you because nobody wanted to touch it, because a lot of this at a state by state level is really difficult to understand until it got put into this removal of the Controlled Substance Act. Nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody wanted to play with it. Nobody wanted to be involved in it. And so that was what gave us the this is a moment that we should be fully taking advantage of. And if any of you are in the slightly in the affiliate space or saw some of these clients or brands come to you for a period there, CBD was huge, right? Like, and I know in the SEO space, CBD is like, I can't do traditional traffic. I need some sort of positioning on this. And we're basically CBD continued to build. CBD got heavily mainstream. Now we're moving into this THC Delta 8, Delta 9, this evolution of what this product is as the market becomes more and more educated. That's where we're winning. And so the core differences between the two here is, for hemp, you got oil, you can make hemp oil, you can have products, you can make hemp t-shirts. The cleanliness around what this product can do for the world is extremely important. It's a cash crop, in my opinion. I don't think they recognize it as that, but it should become that. And then the difference of marijuana is like, you just smoke it, right? The core is to consume it, to put it in edibles, etc. And so this distinction is why we can do what we do and how we do it. And so when this happened, whether you love him or you hate him, business for progress from Trump has been good for me in my life and my family. And so anybody that's pro make money, anybody that's pro growth, anyone that's pro capitalism, work and get, I'm here for it. So Trump said, absolutely, I'm voting this into legalization. And so you can just see this is, I have a number of slides of the market of addressability here. And this is showing the low billions. And as this continues to grow, like we're kind of like in this stage, and I bet if they updated this research to today, this growth would be tremendous, mainly because of what we're working. Because how can this not be an exception? And the outside of New York, a lot of these states they want pot shops, they want this and that, they want the taxability on these products. So it's just growing. But this is just the hemp market, right? So it doesn't bring into any consideration. Aaron and Avin, when they started thinking about we can do this, because Aaron used to do this for Monk, which was like a feel good, it's like a vape for lack of a better phrase. They started learning all the compliant advertising. They made a bunch of new areas and strategies around this, found the right partners and platforms that allowed this to happen, meeting myself and my Facebook team. And then everything that we do, we're very public about it, because the more the market understands, the more innovation can come. And so that's where we're in this final stage of like share, because we want the market to grow and we want more people getting into it because that just means more money for everybody. That's like the honestly, Zach, it's like the all tides rise,
Yeah, absolutely.
all tides rise ships, right? And so this is our amoeba. This is what we believe. This is our branding. It's very similar to our brand drinkbreeze.com. It looks very close to this. So a lot of relationship around it. And we've done this for a fuck ton of people. So we have Martha Stewart, Tommy Chong, Papa Barkley, um, Prima, which is huge, Honest Paws, Sunday Scare. So this is an area where I think on the agency side, we've positioned ourselves as like we kind of have a moat, right? If
Yeah.
and a lot of what we do here is understanding compliance, understanding who we need to talk to, understanding the scripts that we have to say to even get them to approve it when it does get banned. Because inevitably, even if you're running compliant, just non fringe products, like you're gonna lose accounts. It just
Oh, for
happens.
sure.
Like this should just happen. It's so annoying. But there's ways around it and ways to prevent it. So we remind ourselves of the opportunity at hemp, but it changed when because I stopped smoking in 20 2021 because of a really weird, anxious experience that I found. And I was like, I'm not necessarily looking for this. And then we started seeing some trends of like, okay, what's next? We thought that people were going to CBD thinking that they can get high from it or some sort of like feeling or buzz, not just like feel good with my joints and my body. And so we call it like they're looking for like diet weed. They wanted to find something that was actually going to build a trend. And so you go from hemp with the low billions to cannabis, which is middle billions and into hundreds of billions. And you go, okay, the trend of growth and the adoption here, and this is all stuff we're like seeing in real time. And you're probably on that too, because you are a little bit of that biohacking sense of
Yeah.
alcohol. Never has anybody ever in their history been like, you know what? Maybe if you added more vodka to your diet, like you might, or like, you know what, brother, you should definitely have one or two shots of tequila every single day. Like no one's doing this. Like they're
Tequila with
not
your
recommending
pre-workout is perfect. It really gets you going.
it. No, I mean, dude, it's it kills me there. It really because I've been my dad was a we unfortunately had like alcoholism in our family. There was a moment in time for my family, and so from high school, I've basically been full sober on
Mhm.
consumption, and so like this relationship to alcohol and this trend that we're starting to see, and then the acceleration of loneliness and what COVID did to the world was like it's fucking gnarly. So you start looking at these trends of like the sober curious moment, the biohacking moment, the be careful of what you put in your body moment. Like all this is like very real, and I feel it's peaking right now, or it's still increasing as we go.
Yeah.
And so we started just looking at like, okay, where is the opportunity here? Is the rise of alcohol something that people aren't trying to do? Is are millennials drinking less? Are Gen Z smoking less? Like there's this trend coming into it, and then you go, okay, cool. If hemp was growing and getting more compliant on a federal level, and if cannabis consumption and the variety of cannabis consumptions continues to change, those aren't that's not the TAM. That's not where we're going. We're actually going against alcohol. And so if you go against alcohol and the consumption on, that's why we've chosen a drink. And if you can play with this is just dumb
That's
money. This is
insane.
the largest opportunity and really the only player. And this is unless there's like some non-public stuff that I haven't found yet. The only real player from the the alcohol space that is competing in the cannabis space or just like the alternative drink space is Pabst Blue Ribbon. So they're the only one that has a hemp derived drink that competes with us, and they're not
Mhm.
even thinking about the functionality aspects of it. And so when you reframe this opportunity just on a state level, on an American level, and then on a global level, bro, the money that can be made in this stuff is stupid. And so
Right.
that is that is all to say like it sets up the opportunity of like here's the opportunity. You've probably seen these maybe three of these ones. So you have the top left corner can this is like the trendiest they've had the biggest opportunity, they've been earliest to market, so they sell a delicious well branded cannabis in a drink or THC drink like us. The second biggest would probably be Cycling Frog. So if you're deep in that space, you probably know Cycling Frog is one of the second best, great flavoring, great opportunity, good people over here. And you go into Athletic Brew Co., which is a different brand. You can just see all these people are like really trying to take the market, and a lot of
Yeah.
the women that I know are super into kin. And then you have Aplos, and so like you have like these high end branded elements that our people are investing a significant amount of money in, and we go into it and why we chose, and this is something that I think is important for us to understand why we get hit and why we chose what we chose. So from left to right, if you're smoking, this is like the scientific way of why you get high and how fast it lasts. So it's a little bit of some nerd shit for you. But when you when you smoke real quick, this feeling of, oh my God, this is like really, like, this is ridiculous. And then that it starts to kind of like peter off. So that initial hit, and I'm not talking if you're hitting reds, I'm not talking if you're hitting oils, I'm not talking if you're going bong versus joint. I'm just talking about if you're going to inhale it on a normal basis and not trying to just get absolutely fucked. This feeling of like, cool, I'm high immediately, but it's going to taper off over time. Then you come into like you're taking either an edible, primarily an edible, or some type of like concentrated oil, even if it's resin, and you get high, and you're like, I'm probably going to take a little bit more, and you can see that first initial batch of like zero. So your first 15, 20 minutes, you don't feel it. Then you usually go like, I don't feel it, I'm going to take more. That's when you get hit at
Like,
three
nah,
peak.
this isn't working. Let me try it again.
Every time, dude, every time, because it's like, oh, did I eat earlier? Do I have am I thicker? Am I thinner? Am I fat? Am I skinny? Like whatever, it's going to hit you so differently. But it's always the same story of like, oh my God, I'm like, I want to get off this roller coaster. And because when you consume it the acids in your stomach starts mixing with the cannabis and the cannabinoids, this is where you start getting different hits, and the length of it sticks with you is very different. So that we call it that's a three peak play. And then if you go into the sublingual, which is usually something under the tongue or a dissolvent, this is a double peak, and it's a little aggressive, and it's very immediate. Well, all three of these things are very similar to something that Americans love tremendously, which is and this is just more of like a visual, better understanding of this onset. And so thinking about where do you fall in this category, when you look at alcohol consumption, it's a similar path of growth, like of how you're going to feel. The only downside is like you can fucking die.
You die,
So
yeah,
if you're
exactly.
you don't hear stories of like, oh my God, I smoked so much and that dude just died. Like, maybe he wasn't responsive, but he's not, his heart's not going to stop. And so if you think about how do we build a product that is similar to the initial effect and giddiness and happiness that alcohol provides at the initial touch and sip, but then your overall buzz is a short-lived experience. And then at the end of the time, you're back and you don't lose your next day. And so that is the science. Like that is where we have to play with it. And that's how we have to develop this to compete at that level. And so that's where we've been at. And so when we found some of these ingredients, all this stuff exists, right? It's kind of like, cancer can never be cured, but you go down that rabbit hole of like, oh, live natural, do these things, and you start finding ingredients that can solve it. So we play with these three consumptions. So we have lines made over here, which the core fights anxiety, fights depression, increases focus, increases motivation. Like there's a lot of benefits in this area. Increases the likelihood of success, is what I like to tell everybody. And then you have limonene, which is this is sort of that like the actual feeling when you take our first drink of Breeze. There's like a bitter hit, and you're like, "Is this alcohol?" This a lemonine in it, and it tastes like very seltzer, like very citrusy. And there's initial first bite, but we
Mhm.
have to eliminate the flavor. And so these two combine eliminate the flavor of of THC. And because when you drink a drink, or if you make like you have an edible, you get that like this like feeling of like, damn, that tastes like weed or
Yeah.
smells like weed. And so these combine, and as we start adding new elements or flavors into it, we'll get rid of this taste. And so that's that science. And we're like, dude, we're gonna launch our own thing. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it how we want to do it because we understand the market. And that's when Breeze came out of it. So been very fortunate with this. And this is a pretty cool video. I'm gonna play this real quick. We just changed our cans because the sticker, well, it was cool. It's different, but if it's dented, it does not look great. So we have a
Oh,
brand new can that we just got. There's Aaron. Yeah, it's a vibe. Like I'm very proud of it, man. I'm very
yeah.
proud of it. I think it gives us great angles to compete against in this space. And so it did what it needed to do. So it really did pop off on a very good level. And all the things that we thought it was going to serve started to serve. So replacing alcohol, I can go out with friends and enjoy it. So I don't have to feel like I need to consume something, still get buzzed. How people are socializing, like you don't take a joint to a bar. You can't just rip a joint when you're outside with buddies. And so we're hoping that we can compete with them on this consumption level once it gets more mainstream. And then getting people off the negative effect of what CBD or what THC in an edible state does has been probably the biggest biggest misconception when we run our ads. They're all talking about this. This was a quick major win that we had. So we had the worst conversion rate because we're in pre-order, and we started
Right.
posting. This is why I really believe in building in public. You do a great job with this. Eddie does a great job with this. Action does a great job with this. I think we all need to do this on a very, even on a personal level, but specifically on a business level. So we posted, this is what our product page looked like in pre-order. So you can see it's like next batch ships 1019. And anybody that runs a CRO site or anybody that runs paid media, this is like a great recommendation strategy to give to them. Next batch ships. So we're trying to keep conversion rate. We're still trying to spend because it was right before Black Friday. We wanted to put audience.
Yeah.
Hit that dip. So like this was September, October, or yeah, September right before October. October we hit our biggest month yet. Here's what they recommended to us. Next batch ships 1019. Reserve yours today. 5% of all reservations. So we were offering a discount. We did take a little bit of hit of margin,
Oh, cool.
but the purchases were strong. So like, although we're giving up $5, we didn't have to. We
Yeah.
aren't coming out of pocket because we're shipping. So we're kind of stacking cash. Excuse me.
And then you're also building a good relationship with your clients of like, oh, why haven't I got mine yet?
Well, and we what we would have done if we were smart enough to realize this was as soon as we got an order during this period of time, they're like we should have updated flows of email to be like, you just pre-ordered, here's your recommended time of shipping. Whereas we
Mm-hmm.
kind of just put everybody in the normal purchase path, and that
Mm.
communication, we should have been more deliberate in understanding that as soon as we turned over the site here, the email should have been like, cool, you're pre-ordered. Don't forget, don't get frustrated when it doesn't come. We didn't do
Mm-hmm.
that, which really hurt us. Then we get a tweet from this guy, and he goes, I originally saw this concept. Instead of using, I don't want to wait, flip it to, if I don't order, I won't get it until November. So dude builds this custom. And there's no app for this. This is just like an element that we put on site. And I think if someone made an app out of this, it would be a great business opportunity. Um, Please let me know. I would love to write a check if this happens. So what we ended up doing is like pre-order your breeze, grade this out October 19th. This is all dynamics on the back end. We can change these wordings 70%, 20%, whatever we want to do. And the next batch is November. This sent us to the moon, brother. This was like the highest. We're above 6% in conversion rate
Wow.
on pre-order, still spending in October,
On
September,
ads,
October.
yeah.
Are arguably the worst months to spend any sort of money, right? No offer, drinks. Like we're not doing anything novel here. Ended the month with over 300 G's, the biggest month we've ever had, all because this motherfucker sent us this tweet. So it's just things like this that like really put us into an incredible spot that I think if we didn't share this or talked about it, we would never be we
Yeah.
wouldn't be at the million. Okay. That's all my setup to say like this is possible. Here's how we actually do this shit. There's three core areas. So now compliance has been updated. So this before this, they you would have been into this like death of customer support that would never know what they're doing because they're outsourced Indians or Bangladeshians and they have no idea what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually compliance. There's documents that they can pull to. There's references that you can show them and send them when you're running it. And then once you understand what happens or doesn't happen, we got to innovate on it. So we have a couple innovation plays that I'll talk about. I won't show just because that's kind of some of the secret sauce. And then each platform specifically, Meta and Twitter are the two areas that if you do want to start this or try to do this, start with Meta, start with Twitter specifically because Twitter's right now. Stizzy's advertising, straight vape, straight
Yeah, I saw
marijuana. They're everywhere. So like they're like, give me your money, I'll take whatever. Especially after Elon went on his rampage.
that.
This screenshot will send you right to a Google Sheet unlock that will do all compliance for platforms. So it'll link you directly to the compliance notes so that when you have this and when anything you come into play and you're talking to support, hey, blah, 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 I'm following this section specifically, please fix this. So this has
Yeah.
been helpful for us. What it says is these three things. In Meta specifically, you can only advertise education of CBD. And so it's ad of education to page of education to then page of how I can buy it. So you're technically 2 clicks in every single time. You can advertise hemp. You can talk about hemp topical. You can talk about hemp consumption. You cannot mention THC or CBD on any of the landing pages, like at all, until you have a good quality score, until your ads are fine, until you don't go through maybe a month or 2 months of no disapprovals. Do not put any sort of THC on the landing page. You'll see we have a couple that we do THC on this because of the relationships we have. I wouldn't do this
Hmm.
yet, but we're spending good money. So don't, just be safe, get it running, and from there on, you won't have too much issues. Google, this is why I talk about Google, is maybe less than 15% of our overall revenue right now because we're only running to a hemp landing page. And this is not as convincing.
Yeah.
But you can advertise hemp specifically on Google, and then X, fucking Wild West, dude. You could do flower, you could do whatever you want on that. And so what some of the ads, this is usually what they look like. So this is Joy. Joy's a one of the bigger CBD places. Can I boost mood? Can CBD boost my mood and energy? Talking about CBD in the ad, talking about CBD in the image, talking about, we don't have it down here, but look at the landing page, learn.joy.com. So any of these pages early on, no homepage. No, don't drop it a homepage. Build it for the flat. Build it for the platform that you're advertising on. It's going
Hmm.
to give you a little bit of a better opportunity to not fuck yourself over and getting and losing accounts.
Yeah.
And then Zach, do you do any fringe products like this?
So we only really work with CBD. We don't do any THC and then we'll work with hemp and stuff too. But that's about it.
So
But
you
we
you
only do it.
so you have to experience that too, huh?
Not in SEO, no, because anything goes for SEO. Like you could sell, I don't know, you could sell guns. You can sell anything through
Yeah,
SEO.
that's interesting. I wonder if like you'll eventually have, or like in talking to the clients, be like, hey, are you guys trying to run paid, or are you trying to do this stuff? Because
Hmm.
then even if you're, yeah, you guys don't touch paid, but it's, I'd be interested to see if some of your SEO ranked sites or some of your plays you're doing would be compliant for us to run on some of our runs, because we know that they need to diversify because you never want to be dependent on any platform.
Oh, not
And I
at
wonder
all.
if some of our brands would make sense to come go SEO build. And so you'll see, so even three more here, right? CBD, how to get rid of brain fog with CBD. You'll see this one next. Elevet, advertising to pets on CBD has never been an issue for us. I don't know if that's just because it's pets and it's not humans or whatnot, but Elevet's one of the larger ones, and it's just a full pet landing page. And then you have Bluebird Botanicals, was another one of the larger brands. These are pretty straightforward, so nothing too crazy, nothing too aggressive. These are the ads, very D2C like. And so here's who we have to compete against. You can see there's the trend, right? Learn, learn. It's all similar. Delta, pretty straightforward what it is. You can't see any sort of cannabis covered, like it's canna, and then he blocks it off. More bus per can, and deep infused. So the flower kind of looks like flower, but it says alcohol free. You can't even see the milligrams of what they're dropping into. So kind of hiding it is how we go get around it on a simple level. And you have Charlotte's Web, so it goes, hey, how to get rid of CBD? Can CBD get rid of brain fog? Drops it to a full education play. So
Hmm.
it's add, landing page, click, homepage, second click, product page, third click, purchase, cart, fourth click. So you kind of gotta hide it in a little bit
Yeah.
just to make sure that any sort of site scrapes, you're fine. So here's another. This is hemp infused, so it's topical. Even this added cart. So this would technically be product page, because we're not talking about anything that is consumption based. Hemp is all
Oh,
here. You're talking about THC, but it's still all educational focused.
that's interesting.
And Mudwa, this isn't really a fringe thing, but since they are in this quote unquote nootropic and mushroom space, they do end up getting a back and forth of compliancy. But they've been running this ad for quite a long time,
Oh,
and
I
they
love
just go
that
after
creative.
anxiety.
I love throwing dirt
But
on creatives, dude.
and it's
No, no
also,
pun intended.
I actually, has anybody consumed mud water? I think this, I can't, dude.
I haven't.
I can't. I can't get there. If I'm gonna have my coffee, I'm gonna have my coffee. I just can't find some of that. Well, the roads. I'll take my
I ain't
my
gonna have
my Riche.
Starbucks, but
No, I won't. But I'll rip an espresso solo. But this, I think it's interesting. They get a good go compete against Starbucks, drop big names, and drop the words anxiety. So I think Mudwater is a good place to start and look at what they're doing. And bro, we even run some ketamine lead gen. Like this is a space I never thought we'd be able to get into, but it's therapeutic. It is talking to lead gen. It's all informational on and
wow.
what to do and how to do it. But it's a Mind Bloom is huge too, probably one of the largest in the space.
Hmm.
Um, but it's been straight. 1 click in, information lead gen, 2 to 3 clicks in. So it's been pretty interesting. So stick with me here. I'm gonna actually just go show you some straight ads. So I'm gonna stop sharing, and then I'm gonna pull the second deck up. Zach, is there any questions I can pause for, or is there anything right now, or do you want me to keep running and go?
Dominic has one question. He had it earlier on. He says, how does
Yeah.
marketing strategy align with the evolving legal frameworks? How would you ensure compliance with varying regulations across different regions?
So specifically for the regions that we're only advertising in, stick to America. Abroad is too difficult for us to keep up with, especially with the changes. And the core changes that you're tracking in America on this type of specific thing is the Hemp Act and the Farm Bill. So the Farm Bill it was supposed to be voted on, updated in September of this year, got pushed. So we're looking at either a Q1 update or a Q2 update. But it's difficult. It is really difficult because the regulation around Delta 8, Delta 9, and our ingredients that we use, like
Mhm.
there's a real thing that could happen. We can get messages on a state by state level that goes like, "Hey, look, your product and your ingredients are not legal here anymore. Go fucking change it." And that's an unfortunate truth that we have to go through. And we were ready for it in September because we weren't big enough. But say this comes back to us in Q2, and we're doing multi-million dollar months.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Right.
I really don't know, and I hope at that point. But all we can do is kind of read and react. There's no getting ahead of these things because legislation and whoever's in office really gets a vote at this. Thankfully, there will always be states like Minnesota, like California, like Florida that are going to allow this type of thing and allow hemp or marijuana to be there. So if, worst case, you'd go to a state by state level and just be very specific on where you're selling, which yes would adjust the total addressable market. But at that point, maybe your business caps out at a level. So it's not
Yeah.
easy, but it
You
is a
just
very
gotta do SEO,
reactionary.
you know?
You dude, you're not joking. It's like my biggest focus this year is affiliates and SEO. That's all I care about this year or
Eu
2024.
Eugenio Silva has a question. I knew he'd have this question because he does. I think he does SEO for THC companies, but he's saying best way to reach this type of businesses. So in terms of outreach to land cannabis clients,
So I
that's
wouldn't
a little
tell
bit
this
more
to other.
discussed.
I wouldn't tell. No, it's fine. It's fine. I wouldn't tell you to do this other way. Thankfully, you're not doing paid, so I'm more than happy to share it with you. Um, all the cannabis people right now are building on LinkedIn. So I have 2 posts. I have 2 posts I post on it. Go look at Aaron Nospish, my partner. It's spelled. Let me see if I can drop this. AARONNOSBISCH. Look up Aaron Nospish on LinkedIn specifically. He has a couple of posts. In his every one of his fucking posts are like cannabis, beverage, THC. All these clients are just engaged in that, and it's like the founders and the leads of these things. So that's the path that we'd go towards. We do a lot of events now. We don't talk about it. We just started recently talking about what we do and how it's even possible, but it would be these paid medias, and there's not a lot of us. So it's like Lucid. There's one agency called Icarus, which says they do paid media, and we always need SEO partners, right? Like we always need people that we can potentially share clients with because we need to diversify. So I think it's a good place to start. A, the agencies that run in these non-compliant spaces, and B, Aaron's LinkedIn is where I'd start. You can probably get at least 5 leads on that.
Awesome. Alrighty, I think we can dive into the next one.
Thank you. Okay, going to percent. So this will be, and then Zach, give me feedback on how loud this stuff is when I start playing it. Okay.
Okay. If you guys are still following along and everything's good, you have any questions, feel free to drop those. But let's see some more stakes in the chat for this next presentation. We're just getting started, guys.
I love it. Yeah, I'm making great time. So it's 40 minutes. I probably go. Let me just double check calendar real quick. I think I'm okay. Yeah, I'm cruising. So I have another 30-ish. So we're totally chilling. Okay.
Okay.
Back in. So you saw this one. So the Wild Wellness, super incredible how they position this. So this is just a moving GIF. So I only kept it an image. So I'm not going to play the whole thing. But they go USA grown hemp. Again, you see the trend. Learn. Get them
Mhm.
off the core.com. Put them into a different page where it's a lot of information, a lot of SEO back stuff. Biggest play, zero alcohol, 100% chill, catch up on sleep. Our angle with CBD and THC is always sleep, and it's sleep improvement and alcohol comparison. That way you
Yeah.
can still get your buzz and not ruin your morning. That's like the number one hitting angle. There's a couple people that are trying to go towards athletics, which I'll show on this next one. But those ads lead to this page, which is a traditional e-com shopping experience, no changes because they're not talking THC, right? They're not talking about
Right.
marijuana, they're not talking about anything. It's just a sparkling drink. And even as you see, this one's the THC free one, but they're able to show it right on page on images, which is not how it was even just a couple months before. This is one of the coolest brands. I fuck with these guys so aggressively. They call it Off Field, and they're talking about the runner's high, and so
Uh-huh.
they're able to get away with this play of words of the world's first most microdose running high, enhance your flavor. So they a space we'll probably have to get into eventually, but they have like hydration packets that have like
Oh,
crystallized
cool.
CBD and THC, and so you're basically on the run or you're mixing your drink on a hike and you're consuming hydration and you're getting high. And I'm like, that's a niche, like that's an area that people really will play in, and I just heavily fuck with it. And so their landing page is sick too. You can see
One
they
of the
just talked about
questions
it.
asked is what type of ad format works best for you?
So we are running 4x5, so a little bit tall, moving GIFs for our space. We love images and videos, but the number one that's converting for us now, based on all my motion metrics, is under 5 second or under 8 second uh, slight animation, because our specific style is very like futuristic AI focused, and so
Yeah.
it's hard to get a lot of those assets in there. But we're doing low benefit specifically, and I have like two or three of our longer form ads that I'll show you that are really straightforward. And one is like a very long form, almost advertorial like explanation of what the science is like this. So yeah, speaking of, so this is super long, but I'll play half of it and you get the gist of it. Is that sound, Zach? Is that okay?
I don't hear any audio, no.
Interesting. So it probably won't show through the sound. It does have text overlay, so you'll get that. I'll try to pause and annotate. Unfortunately, I don't know why wouldn't it?
It might just be this platform that doesn't do it.
I think you're right. Okay. So I'll let this play real quick. So what
Mm.
Aaron's doing is just doing a full explanation of ingredients, and this
Mhm.
ad is 2 minutes long. These are one of our best performing ads, and it's
Wow.
just him talking about what it does. It's the science behind it. And so that education stance, unfortunately, we're still super early in the space. I think we have to continue to do this.
Yeah.
And then this format is sick. Like if you can get your creator to jump on and do like it's a elevation of the podcast content that a lot of people are running as ads, where you have
Mhm.
people talking about the product, split screen Zoom. So you have whoever you're talking to above, and it is very podcast esque, but it's what we're all very accustomed to on Google and Zoom recently.
Yeah.
And so you're able to just kind of get the whole full product in, and it could be your customer support, it could be the founder, it could be whoever, but it's a really cool ad unit. So he talks about, I can't believe we're getting this ad. I can't believe the world is buying this. I can't believe we're able to sell something like this that gets actual enough feeling if you're combating it. And this is lastly like our angle will always take. It's us versus alcohol, pricing, calories, flavor, ingredients. Simple. So it's nothing crazy, but it sells what we needed to sell. This is our specific lander, try. So we don't use our normal.com. The most fun you can have in a can legally, covering all like the core things that we're talking about. So you can't really tell. Just what is it? I'm curious.
And now that you guys have Lion's Mane, you can run to that and it won't get flagged even though it's on the same website that has THC?
Completely. Well, yes, and because we'll run a lines main only funnel, and then
Uh-huh.
as soon as they start clicking as soon as they click to product page. So if I get two clicks in, third click on a product page, in the product selector of like I want lines main 7.5 ounce or 12 ounce, and then I'll put in that selector they can click on the on THC. So we'll
Oh,
have
yeah, yeah, I
no
saw
issue
that you guys
with it.
have that, like, duo and trio and stuff now too.
Correct. So if we can keep that like in the front of the picture of the content, I shouldn't have any major issues of running it. Now, Meta's Meta. I'm sure they'll do something to us at some point, but right now we're in a good spot of no comparison. So then it gets a little bit more aggressive. So these I'll play one in this ad, but this is essentially talking about ingredients, and this hook is crazy. I just popped it real quick, and then so you can see every angle that we play and win against is
Yeah.
education of what it is. I've had a bad experience. I acknowledge that. Consume with me, and even this one is always a sleep angle. So she's talking about. It's same. The playbook it never will change. It's the same structure.
Yeah,
Then you
that
get
that
into
kinda
guys
goes
like.
along with the question that Christina has. She's asking, how do you convey the effect of your products to people who are new to the field?
So we had to do this specifically, and I have some. I wish the sound was playing, but in our videos we do like a lot of education on the way you should feel, how fast its effect is, um, what happens when it goes wrong. Here's how you fix it. Like so, there is a lot of this edible education that has to happen, or sorry, edible misconception education that has to happen. And we get it all the time. It's like the number one complaint, or not a complaint. It's the number one thing people are talking about. Um, but this comes down to the landing page specifically of how fast does onset come into. So the science I was showing on the deck earlier of like there's a period of time of when you inhale it and there's a period of time when you consume it. Well, the ability to drink it, that effect usually hits it anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes. So it's a very immediate feeling, which is why you can quote unquote feel the effect that we have. But as
Mhm.
soon as by the time you finish the can, the effect should be gone. Unless you've taken too much and you're like in a different state, your environment's a little bit more rough. Like your effect by the time you finish the can should not be impacting tremendously. So it is difficult to share it. I think you can do well with the type of ingredients of if we talk about the lion's mane, here's how you should feel with it. The limonene, here's how you should feel with it as well. We can always get better at that, I think. Rose does a great job of this. And then there's guys like Cheech and Chong, they don't give a fuck. Like they're like when someone I see buys gas station gummies and memes for them, that's their culture. Like that's what they
Below it
do.
says, "You're better than a gas station gummy." That's hilarious.
It's bro. They write. They're like they have what is it? Selena Gomez. Yeah, they have Selena Gomez and like an Indian blanket. It might not even be Selena Gomez. I don't even know
I
how
don't
they.
think it is,
Or
but
it makes me feel like it is.
yeah.
Yeah, when you accidentally take 3 cruise shoes instead of 2, and then like these edibles ain't shit 20 minutes later, like this is crazy. But they know their demographic, right? Like they're going
Uh-huh.
against the people that want to get fucking high, and so they do a 5 reasons why the good stuff is not 100% safe and legal. This links it again. It links it to the Farm Bill. They want to
Yeah.
educate the consumer on how this is even possible. Because another misconception is on the gummy space specifically, the demo of buying this are the older demographic. They're old people buying these types of products, and they're like, if I order this to my door, am I going to go to jail? And like no, that's why you have to go legality and education around it, and it is a big headache. So this is their second page. These aren't beautiful by any means, but man, they do numbers. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's very conversion focused.
It's like very click funnily.
Dude, super click funneling. It's a great. I wish you guys could hear these ones. These ads are crazy. I'm going to play this last one specifically. Just pay attention to the imagery on this. You're going to lose your mind. She literally has a vibrator in this downright corner right here. Watch right there, and it'll show it. It'll show it even more prominent. Ridiculous. It's I don't know how. I really don't know how. This one buy weed online. These guys are another level.
Oh, they kinda blur out the word though.
They do blur out the word, and they're very particular in how they put it. Look at the sandwich that she's making right now. Watch this. It's just like the genius, dude. These guys are so good.
It's like
They do.
so subtle but obvious.
It's so subtle. They do a traditional quiz funnel of like, hey, because again, we got to get the clicks, we got to get them deeper in the funnel,
Yeah.
and so they did some really unique shit on that. And these guys they're game changing. But I have okay, I have ads. So this will take you to a 4-play board, so it'll show you all the ads that we talked to, so you can hear it. And I have more collection there from our brand specifically, and then some of the cool landing pages in this space. That way you guys can get inspiration, I like to say.
Dominic is wondering, he says, is it possible to create a psychedelic drink?
We're trying. There is psilocybin is not by any way, like, I literally bought this is like a D2C psilocybin brand that I'm buying out of San Diego. This is like capsule like stuff, but there's no real. And actually I bought like a mushroom chocolate through a weird funnel that I would love to talk about one of these next times. But this to make a psychedelic drink, and the science behind like the emulsification of getting down the right amount of elements from the right mushroom, I don't think we're close yet. I don't think, but when it does happen, dude, this is going to be an incredible opportunity to market. It might even have to be. Zach, you familiar with the Ketone IQ guys?
Yeah.
The little red bottle.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically sell ketones, and it's incredible for us. It's especially if you're fasting, especially if you're carnivore. And I believe it might get to a level of like the small 5-hour energy bottles that are dosed specifically. Because if you have, for instance, if I have a 7.5 ounce can and I have 0.3% THC, like that still could be a lot to somebody, depending
Mm-hmm.
on their tolerance. So I think that you need to be in a more carefully dosed consumption area, which is why if I'm going capsules, I know what one capsule is because it's by weight. Whereas I don't think we're close yet, but I do believe it'll be faster than what marijuana has been because of such the Controlled Substance Act and the negativity that marijuana has had in our country for so many years.
Yeah.
Psilocybin and psychedelic mushrooms, they don't have that. It's still very in this like woo woo hippie medicinal space that I think will allow for further activity.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in a lot of organizations and states, they're pushing it more for like therapeutic stuff, whereas marijuana never got that rap for a really long time.
No, and even ketamine, right? Like some people would argue ketamine is a terrible drug, like it's dangerous. But if there's ketamine treatments that are able to get you off of prescription play or out of depressive states, that progress is important. And I think it comes down to the cultural movement that we as like millennials and Gen Z are like, I don't want to smoke. I want something that's better. I want ice baths. I want saunas. I want health. And I think that the rise of non-alcoholic consumption too is very interesting because people still want shit. Like you still want to drink something.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we definitely delve into that creative space for sure. Appreciate all that information. If you guys have any questions, we still have a few minutes left. I know that you also mentioned at the beginning that you had some agency sauce as well for people that were building up their agencies.
Yeah.
Maybe let's keep it specifically on obviously what you know and how you've built your agent three through Lucid, or even if you want to talk about structured or whatever. Um, what are some of the biggest trends or things that you're learning, especially coming into 2024, that are they're gonna push your agency forward the most?
So I'm actually going to be an opposite of AI maxi. So I know a lot of people believe in the improvement of AI can be in the agency space. Every couple of years there's like a decoupling of like I want a team to do everything for me and I want individual strategists and specialists that do something specifically for me.
Hmm.
I think right now we're in the trend of I want specific specialists that do one thing specifically for us. We've been at a state where since I would say 2019, 2020, it's been growing gradually towards when we're closing a 6-figure contract or even multiple 5-figure contracts. They want the team to do everything. In all of my negotiations and almost all of my deals in Q4 this year have been like, I only want one thing from you, and what are you really, really good at? Email, got it, I want that. And so I'm starting to be in the camp of not selling everything and just selling the specific thing that you're incredible at. And
Mhm.
I think I'm very curious on what Eddie and the other groups are seeing here. But since we only do e-com in a very competitive space, we're no longer selling the all done for you approach. So
Right.
that's one biggest thing. Two, I think we were huge in investing in content creation and making content for people. Those costs for me for working with creators or working with actual like production teams haven't gone down, and I
Right.
thought they would. I really thought we'd be able to leverage AI, leverage editing. It's almost there. I think the amount of time invested to get this better isn't there. What is there is the briefing, is the intake, and is the communication to partners and clients. I think the what we'll do heavily because we're a full ClickUp agency. We migrated into that. We were heavily Notion, but the automations for ClickUp is big for us. We are starting. I'm not full go high level yet. I think it will be interesting for me to use eventually. I know people
It's
love it.
getting there, bro.
Um,
It's getting there.
I've heard. I'm not against it, but I'm not there yet. We're still HubSpot. We're still a little bit on that enterprise shit, but we'll move away soon. Um, I think the communication, the frequency of communication updates to our clients is going to improve, and that's something that we're spending a lot of time in 2022 or sorry 2024 early, because the demand like the what 2023 did that I felt was it got rid of a lot of people that didn't have real businesses,
Mhm.
or they realized they were desperate, and so they kind of went all down market. I need to negotiate, I need to get deals. And so
Yeah.
if we stay with the figures in which we're closing at, we're really only getting real businesses. They're closing slower, but they're coming in and they're more legit and they're more sticky. So
Yeah.
that's one value that I've really been seeing.
Yeah,
And
I've
we
seen that for sure in Q4, 100%.
do you think it's a Q4 only thing, or do you think it's like that's the path for the foreseeable future?
I think it's a path because I think it's similar to what you're saying is people see or people have tried kind of like tried and tasted everyone and then they're like and then the chaff has kind of been shaken out, you know? Like what you were saying.
I
Like I
think so.
think the chaff has been losing traction and then only the people that are like doesn't matter what your offer is anymore, it doesn't matter what your pricing is before, like people just want good results and everyone's migrating to the brands that have good results through social media and being like, okay, who are you working with? Like, how do we get those results that you're getting too? Oh, we're working with Shaq. Oh, we're working over with Zach. And they're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go check them out. Like most of our good leads aren't even coming through like our paid acquisition channels anymore. A lot of them are just coming through cold or podcasts I've been on or events I've been to and stuff like that. And that's where most of the stuff or referral partners that I have, like um with Eddie or and Ashton and stuff. So that's where a lot of our good acquisition is coming from. And I feel like it's one of those things where like the chaff is falling. Like the weak agencies or the people that were just starting their SMMA to make a few quick bucks are just like they're fading in the past a little bit.
You're so spot on there because I mean, people talk about this all the time. How do you grow an agency? You get more leads and you do good work. I agree, and I don't think that'll ever change for us. But the people that were really focused on just trying to make as much money as possible and the quality of delivery was not there, put a lot of people into really tough spots. So if you really wanted to be good at what you do and didn't have to be so focused on like I need new leads in the door, the retention of these partners that we have is probably the biggest focus that you're going to win on. And that's what we had to do. Right now, we are in a stage of at our peak, we're 160, 170 employees full time. And I think by the end of this year, we'll either be a third of that or half of that.
Wow.
Not because not because we are going a different path and we're not selling or pushing as much. We just didn't need it. Like
Hmm.
you look at it, you thought, and this agent is like get a hire then fulfill, they get max, you hire, and the cycle repeats.
Yeah.
But then you actually like find out what they're doing inside, and you're like, I don't know. And a lot of look, if you're hiring millennials or Gen Z, like there's soft, like there's a lot of people that are going like, I can't, I can't,
Yeah.
I'm done
Bro,
today.
I made
Are
this
you?
tweet the other day that went a little bit viral about how I said that I hate hiring Americans.
Oh, it's not. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's
You're not
just
wrong.
it's just a whole thing. But yeah, Yeah, I think that was
I,
one of the things at the beginning of my agency where I was like, "Man, I'm gonna stack employees. Like that's how that's gonna be my metric. I'm gonna tell everyone once I break 100 employees. Once I broke it, I was like,
oh
guys, I
yeah,
got an agency that's over 100 people. We're doing great. And now I'm just like, how can I get rid of all these people? Not actually, you know
it's
what I mean? But it's just like,
I do. It's not a matter of getting rid of the people. It's a matter of like
no.
getting the ones that want to be here, that want to do the work. Because here's the issue that happens is like when we offer all services and like eventually one's going to sell more than the other, like that one thing is going to sell a lot more. So the focus shifts there, so the sales shift there, so the process shifts there. And so as that department for us, email continues to be a beast and grow, and or paid is lagging, it just the focus shifts on what this core offer is or what's selling consistently in the moment. And so we start seeing the department build bigger in an area where it's not. So then is it really just one company or is it two companies? Should it be
Mhm.
together? Should it not be together? So we have a lot of these things that we're facing, and our goal is to build as an incredible agency as large as we possibly can. Not a lot of people have that goal. And it's big meaning revenue, is a big meaning brands, is a big meaning partners. And if I when I do this again, because eventually, we'll hit a point where we stay or do we go, and I'll do my due diligence, I'll wait my period. But when I do it again, I think I'll have a team of like 8 to 10. We'll do everything, and
Mhm.
it'll be people that want to really work on really cool projects and build and we'll all print.
Yeah.
That's what V2 of agency would be for me.
Yeah. We have a couple questions here. One investment says, how soon could a beginner jump into this space? How much capital? What are good suppliers, etc.?
Hey, hit me on Twitter. I think this would be because it's suppliers for gummies or suppliers for just like straight ingredients to make whatever you want, like a drink. I would probably push you in a couple of different directions if that's the case. The reason why as a beginner I wouldn't jump into this space unless you have a specific skill in paid media or SEO or growth. The way that you'd be able to grow it without those, I think would be very difficult, especially if you're going to go like retail. um, so my recommendation is unless you have a really good skill already in these growth areas, I wouldn't jump into the space. There are moats that go around it, but hit me and I'll talk to you about suppliers, bro.
And then the capital, how much capital would you generally start with?
My normal recommendation for any brands jumping off, I would want $25,000 to start with, and I look at it in like tranches of cash. First 5,000, what is site, images, sampling.
Mhm.
The next 5,000 is get it, use those samples, get a little bit of packaging, start some paid ads, start some growth, and then customer start play, maybe a email flow setup, and then the next 5,000. Think of it in like tranches of cash. What can I do with 5,000 buckets? And I would say it's 25,000 to start.
Jay has an agency question. What's your biggest acquisition channel for structured and what strategies have you used?
Our number one is LinkedIn right now. We are incredible. My partner Chase Diamond,
Yeah, we
um,
had him on last
he
month.
been my best friend for 12 years. Lives down the street from me. We acquired them in 2022, and that is our number one channel. He is the number one channel. I am the number two channel. But what he does is like so incredible
Mhm.
of how we push on LinkedIn, like the content that we share and the way that we update it, like the small changes that we put into it. This man brings in incredible. Like we just closed True Religion. We have conversations with Shop.com. Like these are stupid brands that we aren't going
Mhm.
to get a hold of. And it was Twitter. I think Twitter is a different culture now than it was
Yeah.
before for
Yeah,
leads.
money
I mean,
Twitter's diluted.
it's contentious and a little bit aggressive. Um, and it's not, there's some deals get done. I'm not saying
Mhm.
no, but LinkedIn, I would say any core focus would be LinkedIn, and then find out how to get the distribution of consistency.
Yeah. Yeah, we brought him on and he did a whole dropped his whole LinkedIn strategy basically on a live last month.
Oh yeah, run that back if someone hasn't seen it. And then we next starting next year, we hired the Hydro guys. They're Josh and Nick are helping me build out my outbound for email and for LinkedIn. I don't know if cold email is going to be the thing for us, but we have a couple offers we're gonna figure out before Q1 starts.
Awesome. All right, my man. Well, I really appreciate your time. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention to people? Let them know.
No, I think I believe the agency space is a great space to be in. I think 2024 will be a really, really good year for us.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be afraid of what offers you can craft. We're trying to craft at least 4 offers a quarter that are for our core products and services, and we're running paid to it, and then we're gonna try outbound for that specifically. But I would say I think it might be the year of the offer, but do your best not to limit your price you charge for your product.
Yeah. Eddie's going for a 25 million a year with Ashton.
I know. I know. I
It's
look
crazy.
20. I think they'll do similar to us in Rev this year. But for them to do that next year, I don't think that's an issue. They are very marketers first. I think they'll crack it.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially since they're combined forces now for sure.
That's so true. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate the opportunity, brother.
All right. Where can people find you, learn more about you, ask you some questions?
I am Nick Shackelford on Twitter. That's my most active place, and then LinkedIn I'm active as well. But Twitter, I'm too much time over there. It's honestly, I spend so much time on Twitter just to try and filter out all the porn bots.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Bro, every comment, every time I make a post, there's like 13 of them like, bored? What are you doing? I'm like, what is this? It's the same person.
The crypto ones are crazy too. I have a couple of crypto friends, and whenever they comment on my post or something, the dude gets like 10 retweets, 40 likes. I'm like, he just said he liked my post. Like that's it. He's like, like, why are you guys retweeting this?
It's too
It's
much.
hilarious.
This world is wild. Yeah,
All right,
find me
my
on Twitter.
man. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for spending this hour with us. Crazy value as always, and appreciate you taking that time for us.
No stress, man. I'll see you. I'll hold on till this loads up. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming out today. I know it was a longer one than normal. We just had some extra value that I wanted to make sure that we got to you. Thank you very much for coming out. It was great having you guys. Thank you for all the questions. This replay will be available if you want to watch it. Go back and watch the other videos as well inside of the agency domain. If you have any questions for myself, you know where to find me, either on my socials or inside the Discord. You can also ask Nick if you have any questions for him on his socials as well. Once again, many of you will watch, but very few of you will actually listen. Have a great day, guys.